A moment of reckoning on college campuses in the wake of the Israel-Hamas war. Now, while anti-Semitism is certainly not new, today there is troubling new data from the Anti-Defamation League that finds that 73% of Jewish college students say that they have seen or even experienced it on college campuses since the school year began, and that far fewer Jewish students feel safe on campus in the wake of the October 7th Hamas terror attack. Next week, the presidents of Harvard University, MIT, and the University of Pennsylvania are going to testify at a congressional hearing. House Republicans are promising to put their feet to the fire over claims of growing anti-Semitism on campus. And now there's a new lawsuit filed by Jewish students, faculty, and alumni. It's alleging the University of California at Berkeley has failed to protect Jewish people from discrimination on their campus. Joining me now is Berkeley graduate business student Hannah Schlacter, who is part of the group that is bringing the suit, as well Kenneth, an attorney and the founder and chairman of the nonprofit Louis D. Brandeis Center, who's also a part of the lawsuit. Thank you both for joining me this evening. I want to begin with you, Hannah, because the lawsuit alleging, quote, Jews on campus have been receiving hate emails calling for their gassing and murder, unquote, and that Jewish students are also afraid to go to class. They describe the atmosphere on campus. The fear that is so pervasive there is stunning to so many people. Why do you believe there is so much fear right now?
Thank you so much for having us on and for wanting to hear our story as Jewish students on campus. What I'm able to speak to is the gap between the policy that exists to protect students and the university's enforcement of that policy. So, for example, we've had 2 Jewish students physically assaulted on campus when holding Israeli flags and expressing their Jewish identity. Yet I've noticed a gap in what the policy is in place to handle these situations to what these students are being told by the UCPD when they file the report.
Hannah, I mean, the fact this is happening at Berkeley, I mean, the university is saying they've taken multiple steps. You've intimated a little bit of it, but multiple steps, including communicating with Jewish campus groups about events, ramping up their security. They've also offered emotional and mental health resources with what they say they have provided. What is the specific relief that you would be seeking in this lawsuit? To do more of that, something different? What is it?
Yeah, this is definitely a yes and situation. Yes, Jewish students are grateful to the university and especially the UC Regents. Their recent $7 million investment in programming, as well, UC Berkeley recently launched the Anti-Semitism Education Initiative. So those are incredible efforts. And at the same time, there's a gap, and this is a systemic problem. The fact that the university, what I suspect, is not enforcing policy for situations and incidents that affect Jewish students compared to other minority groups, that to me is what I would call discrimination. So the reason that we're working now with the incredible team at Brandeis is that we want to create systemic change long term, and we also want to create a cultural shift on campus so that Jewish students feel safe, included, and there's no more hostility.
Ken, to that point, and with the objectives there and the idea of if it's selective enforcement, certain policies, or maybe turning a blind eye towards certain things, the university is responding, as you know, to the lawsuit today. And I'm going to quote what they're saying. They're saying, as a public university, Berkeley does not have the legal right to stop demonstrations or expression that many would consider to be offensive. Those demonstrations and expression are protected by the Constitution of the United States. So my question that many people are likely asking themselves today, Ken, why is this not a First Amendment concern that might be out of the hands of the university? What do you say to that?
So sure, Laura, thank you for having us on, and what bravery from Hannah. I really I respect that a great deal. There are huge First Amendment issues, but listen, we've just been hearing about students who are being literally assaulted. That is not First Amendment protected. It is not First Amendment protected to threaten, to assault, to obstruct, to exclude. The sorts of things that are happening at Berkeley that we're complaining about do not enjoy First Amendment protection. On the other hand, Jewish students are continually prevented from expressing themselves or being punished harassed and marginalized when they do. If there is anyone who's being denied First Amendment rights, it's the students who are part of the Brandeis Center and part of this case, and not anyone else.
Let me ask you, Ken, about the students. I know you mentioned as well, Hannah, that have been assaulted. Has there been criminal investigations about this? Is this confined to the school handling it exclusively, or has this been referred to the law enforcement officials even off campus?
I can speak to that. I know that the 2 Jewish students who were physically assaulted, they've been attempting to work with UCPD. And my understanding is that UCPD is not investigating these as hate crimes. So it's one thing to call it a hate crime. It's another to not even investigate it as a hate crime. And just to give you a comparison, there was a Islamophobic hit and run incident down at Stanford recently. And my understanding is that Stanford, they don't know who the suspect is, yet they are still investigating it as a hate crime. So I think that this further illustrates that there's a disconnect between issues affecting Jewish students, what policies are in place, and why it appears to me that the university is selectively enforcing the policies as they see fit.
Ken, really quick, is this something that would be continued outside of this campus as well? Are other schools looking at the same issue along with what Hannah is describing to have a collective approach?
What we're seeing at Berkeley is both representative and also extreme. In other words, it is a symptom of a much larger problem that we're seeing all around the country at so many different universities that it's hard to keep track. On the other hand, what's happening at Berkeley really is truly extraordinarily bad and really needs to be addressed, not just because of the problems at Berkeley, but because the University of California at Berkeley is one of the greatest public universities in the world. And others look to it as an example for better or for worse. We don't want the problem to expand out of Berkeley. We want to stop it here and now.
Hannah Schlacter, Ken Marcus, thank you both so much for joining me this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.